Okay people, welcome back to another Fwoosh Weekly. As always, I'm Robo, and you know what the deal is at this point. It's another great week in toys. It's gotten to where I don't even worry about it anymore, even if the first of the week is fairly slow. Back in the day, I'd be, oh my god, what am I going to talk about this week? And at this point, it's just kind of, well, something will come around. Guaranteed. I have completely lost track of what is old and what is new with Mezco's 1/12 Collective Rumble Society. We've seen the Pink Skulls Chaos Club before, but you know Mezco, they always have to ramp it up a little bit. So they put out, what is this called? The Deluxe Gig from Hell box set. When it first popped up, I was scrolling through the pics going, oh, dang. Dang. Good dang! Band equipment, loads of accessories, cranial add-ons, clothing options, and well, even the amount of hands is a bit intimidating. And I'm always surprised at how emotive you can get skulls. Here, they're pink. They jump out at you from the pictures, but more than that, it's just how expressive they are. All of that together, so many options, so many ideas, so many possibilities. If you're into Pink Skull punks, that is. But it looks like the photographer here felt the same way because, again, scrolling, more pictures, and I loved every one of them. Again, tons of stuff along with some vinyl, some stands. That means the price is gonna be up there. $285, but if you break it down, it's 3 standard Mezco figures, which run between, what, $80 and $90 on a good day? So that's $240 to $270, somewhere in there. Add in more accessories, the vinyl, which actually has 8 original songs on them, and it seems like a deal, but for those of you just wanting the pink skulls and was like, I don't need all this extra stuff, yeah, I can see your point of view, but at the same time, that's me doing that without remembering the price of the first pink skulls. Whatever. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you pass on by. Which, if this is the first time you're hearing about this, you're gonna have to pass on by anyway, or jump on the wait list because it sold out in about 2 hours. Welcome to the Rumble Society. Remember a few weeks ago when I had to skip a weekly because I was out of town for Star Wars Celebration? And when I came back, I said something a little like this. I was gone for 2 weeks and all McFarlane toys showed was the DC Multiverse Crime Syndicate Superwoman? Well, Todd must have saw that and thought, well, okay, 1, who's this asshole giving me grief on the internet? And 2, just wait. Just wait. Because now, just 2 or 3 weeks later, McFarlane brought the sexy back. Yeah! First up, quite a few Target exclusive items, like the Julie Newmar Catwoman from Batman 66. Now, this is just the currently on pegs. I think I saw Eartha Kitt recently. But it's that body with a new head, but if it works, it works. Plus, she's looking eyes forward. And that's always a plus in my book. For page punchers, there is the black and white comic style repaint of the Batman that has already been solicited for that line. I usually window shop the hell out of decos like this. I love it, but here, I'm not feeling it. Is it too much white than the fully black cape? Or is it just because the black shadow just kind of... Or maybe it should have had some grays between the whites and the blacks. Which, yeah, black and white. But you know, mid-tones. Target also gets a gold label Dark Detective, and this I do like. This design just sings to me for some reason. I know it looks wonky when it comes to Batman, but maybe it's the tacticalness. Maybe it's just the, hey, I'm gonna take this, this, and this. I'm Batman. And I like it even more without the trench coat that comes on the standard edition, from an action figure point of view. I think that missing coat is really the only change from standard to gold label. Maybe the colors are tweaked a bit? It's hard to tell. It's the same for the Target exclusive gold label Power Suit Lex, but here it's more addition than subtraction. It's the previous blue Power Suit Lex with the head from the green Power Suit, and then they threw a cape on it. Would love to see it chromed out like the trading card hints at, though. You can see down on the red it's a little bit reflective. Give me some shiny blue and some candy red. For something brand spanking new, there is the Crime Syndicate Owlman, who is the next figure in the Target Build-A-Starro wave. Weird seeing this so soon after the Superwoman reveal, but she's already popping up on pegs, so it makes sense. That's all for Target, but there's still some exclusives. This time, for the McFarlane Toys store, don't forget the extra S in there, there is the gold label Arkham Knight Red Hood. Is this the first we're seeing of this sculpt? The red monochromatic, as they call it, looks neat for an exclusive for a gold label, but ooh, I really need to see this in the actual Arkham Knight colors. Unless that's already been announced and I forgot about it. There's been a few Red Hoods in this line, hasn't there? But for the McFarlane Toys Store exclusive gold label Arkham Knight Amber Scarecrow, I think I'm perfectly happy with this color scheme. I think it's much more saturated than what we're going to see with the eventual standard release, but oh, look at the orange pops and the brown just feels right. I may sing a different tune when that solicitation comes along in a dirtier, browner feel, you know, more like the game. But for now, oh man, I think it's the overall design itself. It's just scary. You know, it's Scarecrow. Too many to list right here. The links are all in the description. McFarlane also decided to show off the next two characters in their Critical Role line, and it's Keyleth and Vaxilden. Vaxilden? The apostrophe always gets me. Vaxilden. I don't know much about Critical Role, but I'm a fan of action figures, and it's cool to see a different style here. Don't get me wrong, these are still unapologetically McFarlane toys. You can look at it and go, yep, that's McFarlane. But it skews away from the other lines and right into Critical Role. Odd to see Todd figures priced at $26.50 though. They usually stick lower than that. Is it the license? Is it the production run? Because just looking from the outside, it seems like these don't get near the figures out there as DC or other lines Spawn, stuff like that. Just waxing toyetic is something that caught my eye. Who knows? Except for, you know, people at McFarlane Toys. That's not all though. That Todd middle finger to my comment from a few weeks ago, oh, it casts a large shadow. The Megafig manga Spawn popped up on Target this week too, and it's definitely a Spawn figure, but not as manga as I was expecting. Maybe it's because I have that original figure just burned in my brain with its chunky extremities and its overall mechy feel. This still works, but it's been tweaked to be more Spawn-like. Spawn the character. There's the asymmetry, there's the spikes, there's the big boot that wouldn't look right if the other leg was also big. It tones back the proportions of the original figure to be more human-like, I guess. The weapons are awesome though, with the green glow and then the silver handles. Yeah, that totally works here. There was also a Todd McFarlane signed edition, but that's long gone. You missed that. But if you want the regulars, link is in the description. Feels like it's been a while since we've seen a Tamashii Nations Tokyo exhibit, doesn't it? This week they gave us a better look at the SH Figuarts The Batman, and has this still not been solicited overseas? It's odd we only saw domestic pre-orders for this, like they're specifically marketing it to the US. And the placard here, which again, this is shown in Tokyo, says display only, which means, well, it's up in the air somewhere. Much like the SH Figuarts Star Wars Mandalorian Moff Gideon, this was shown along with the SH Figuarts Mando Luke at a show last year. And then Luke's already released. Moff Gideon says display only. So who knows? Is he going to join that huge group of Star Wars figures they've shown at cons and exhibits and such that have never seen release? I've gotten to where I don't get excited until I click that add to cart button because you've broken my heart too many times, man. Next, I guess I'm one of the few people who hasn't seen Squid Game, so when I see these SH Figuarts versions, it's just kind of, well, those look like awesome pink jumpsuits, and that dude's kind of scary. I wonder if I could use him somewhere else. There's Masked Manager, who has two different mask options. There's Masked Soldier, and then there's Frontman. And even though these have the dreaded display only sign out in front of them, it has been announced that there will be more information on July 14th. So maybe there's hope for the rest, like that sweet, sweet Let There Be Carnage Venom they're also showing. That wide mouth looks slick, and I'm pretty happy with the Marvel Legends, but which segues beautifully into something else that was being displayed. But on top of that, the SH Figuarts Marvel Tech on Avengers Venom Wolverine also got pretty promotional pictures. That's why we went over here. This was teased a few weeks ago, and back then I rambled on, I pondered the possibility that this would just be a repaint of the standard SH Figuarts Marvel Tech on Avengers Wolverine. Wrong. It does reuse some parts like the torso, or well, some of the torso. Looks like the crotch piece, looks like the legs, but something getting venomized usually means bigger and bulkier. There are new arms, new shoulder pad, new head, and new accessories, like the claws that have a hook in them now. Like, remember when Carnage first showed up and he was using that? Then there's also some swap out extendo tentacle claws to give even more of a fluid look like you get from the symbiotes. Overall, it's a spiffy design that makes for a cool toy. Not available just yet, but MSRP is $90 and it's scheduled for November. I also didn't realize that they hadn't actually solicited the standard Wolverine for the Tech on Avengers, so it makes me wonder why the Venomized Wolverine got to cut in line. Just a more fun design? Or maybe Spider-Man sells? Obviously, because it's nearing the end of the month. It's time for another pair of MAFEX pre-orders, and this time around, they're both Marvel. And they are both Spider-Man. Overthinking it a bit, I think there's a method to Medicom's madness here. First, there's Scarlet Spider, and I'm no clone expert, but from what I'm reading, this isn't 100% accurate. But to a casual fan of Spider-Man like me, this completely works. In fact, I'm fairly sure I do not have a version of this on the shelf. So looking at this, with its kind of impressive looking soft goods, if those clothes are as good as the MAFEX Into the Spider-Verse Peter B. Parker, yeah, I may not be able to pass on this. Fairly clean base body though. Yeah, there's ankle holsters. Yeah, there's wrist wraps. Yeah, there's new heads. But it wouldn't surprise me to see some reused parts from the Black Suit Spider-Man that was listed last fall. And then again, the other figure this month is Classic Costume Spider-Man, which is really just a repaint of the first comic Spider-Man we got in 2019. And then we got it again with cell shading sometime between then and now. I can't remember exactly when it came out. Reuse except for the shoulders. For some reason, they tweaked the line between the red and the blue to have a little kick in it. Unnecessary, but appreciated. The big obvious difference is the lighter and brighter blues and reds, which makes it feel much more classic. Then the proportions, the design, the eyes, oh man, it puts it squarely in the 90s, and that's not classic. It hasn't been that long ago, right? It's only been 2 or 3 decades. My theory here is that these are less intensive releases. They kind of lighten the load, because as we all know, Medicom cannot stick to a schedule when it comes to MAFEX. And besides reuse, these also have less accessories, like you notice they're missing unmasked heads. Those require more printing, more painting, more QC, and I can see them dropping those in order to try to get them through the factory faster. Or, like I said a minute ago, Spider-Man sells, and they just looked at it as, hey, let's do some Spider-Mans. More new parts on Scarlet Spider means that's $64 compared to the $57 for Classic Costume Spider-Man, since there's so much reuse there. It also looks like Medicom's expecting the Classic Costume Spider-Man to swing through the factory faster, because they put a release date of October 2022 on that. Scarlet Spider is June of next year. We'll see. Sticking with Marvel, look at the retro-carded Marvel Legends Apocalypse that caused all kinds of confusion this week. Is it animated? Is it retro? Is it comic book? Where am I supposed to put this thing? To me, it kind of rolls alongside releases like the Target exclusive retro-carded Rogue and Gambit, where it kind of picks and chooses from the design, both from cartoons and comics. Apocalypse definitely skews 90s animated style with the pretty purples and blues, and then that arm blaster with the orange accents. That seals the deal, along with the new shoulder pads, the new collar piece, the new vambraces, the new belt. You compare side by side, and yeah, come on now. But it does lack the cell shading of the Pulse VHS offerings, even though I will bet a frugal amount of money that we're going to see that repaint sometime in the near future. So really, here's a different Apocalypse. Take it or leave it. You know, for me, honestly, the closed mouth is the big draw here. If this is re-released again in darker blues and grays, I'd replace my Build-A-Figure in a heartbeat. If you're interested in this version though, $39, scheduled for early next year. The Hasbro G.I.Joe team did another Instagram live this week, and those are usually more low-key than their YouTube fan streams. So for us classified collectors, we just got a better look at the Target exclusive Tiger Force Duke and Ram. This was announced a while back, but it's always nice to see some actual hands-on plastic. Mostly reuse, which was expected and totally works because this is exclusive, but there's also that new vintage-inspired rifle. I see you sneaking things in there. Now, I haven't had a problem with the Tiger Force repaints because I wasn't a big Joe kid, and I missed out on a lot of this stuff. So I understand if your Tiger Force is just ugly, gaudy, to me it's just, oh, it's a different version of a character I already like, gimme. So here, I actually like this Duke repaint. I don't know, it makes it tones it back from the first release, but at the same time spruces it up a bit, especially with how accurate it is to the vintage figure. Except for the hair. of course. But as happy-go-lucky as I am with my toys in general, for some reason the deco on the Ram just... I'm not going to say it's wrong because it's Tiger Force. Yeah, okay, I can live with the orange to yellow fade. But from a personal preference, just my own whining and griping, oh man, my brain wants to see that flying tiger shark face moved from the tank up to the front of the motorcycle around the headlight. And again, that's my own little nitpick. You Google flying tiger shark face motorcycle and most of the pictures show that design on the tank. I can't help it. I know it's an oddball thing, but I just had to ramble about it. Like I said, Target exclusive, but there's no actual pre-orders up yet. They said that would be in the near future. And if other recent Tiger Force exclusives at Target are any indication, this shouldn't be too awful hard to get. Then, like they've been doing every live stream this month, they threw out 2 names that will come to the classified line in 2023. No digital renders, no sneak peeks at the figures themselves, just the names. And for this live stream, it was Scrap Iron and Grunt. And I'm overly excited for Grunt. 1, it gets Grunt into the display, and 2, as a customizer, hopefully it's a nice military type body that I can use for other characters. And then for Scrap Iron, they said it will come with a nice sized drone. Now, let's get some G.I. Joes into hands. To finish it off, let's swing back around to Star Wars because Hasbro revealed their Black Series Ned B from the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series. And say what you will about the show, I'm a sucker for big old heavy droids with hammers. Well, I'm a sucker for Star Wars in general. You guys know that. But it's even more scrumdiddlyumptious when it's of the droid variety. And look at this thing. You don't even have to be told that this is a loader droid. You just get that from the design, from the color scheme. Or if nothing else, you can display him with his cousin from Cybertron. Bumblebee joke, haha! I didn't come up with it. It's all over social media. I can't claim it, but I can steal it. The yellow is a little bit bright compared to what we saw on the show, but it's the same for Obi-Wan's blue. That usually happens whenever we get figure announcements so close to the actual show airing. They've used, concept art and such. I do like the weathering, and again, the overall look. Oh man, this translates into action figure form perfectly. This is a deluxe release though, so the $34 price point, it is getting up there. But I always try to justify it as this is a larger, unique sculpt that's less likely to be reused, I guess. And that's due out 2023, just like everything else we're pre-ordering these days. Also, jumping back to last week, Hasbro announced that their Black Series Phase 2 Purge Trooper and One Jack from Obi-Wan would be Walmart exclusives. They also said pre-orders would go up the next day, which didn't happen, and that's exactly what I said in the last weekly. And as soon as that went live on YouTube, of course, the StarWars.com official site came back and said, oh no, pre-orders are going to be July 21st at 7 a.m. Pacific. That's awfully specific, and that is the first day of San Diego Comic-Con. So is Walmart doing some kind of collector event to coincide with SDCC? Let's see how smooth that goes. And that's it for this week. You know better. Of course I missed something. I always miss something, but if I did, as always, we'll swing back around next week, see what's going on. If you're interested in seeing any of these pictures up close without me all... What did I do this episode that was annoyingly repetitive? Besides me forgetting things. I'll be posting all of that, plus links to more information, pre-orders on the Fwoosh front page Saturday at noon. And I don't really have anything to put here. There's nothing pressing. There's nothing that really caught my eye this week. The summer show schedule is holding up. San Diego's in July, followed closely by PowerCon at the 1st of August, and it looks like I'm going to be at both. Which is funny because, okay, Veebs takes care of all the travel arrangements when we go to shows together. Everyone knows I can't even make it through a 30-minute episode of the weekly without losing my mind. In fact, when I booked my flight to the first Toy Fair that I went to by myself, I screwed it all up. I was in Toy Fair when I got the email that I had missed my flight, and I was like, no, that's tomorrow. And the airport's like, nope, that was today. No, I booked it for tomorrow. Nope, it was today. Oh, it was today. Give us more money. So I leave that to Veebs. And we had talked about PowerCon, but I don't think we ever locked anything down. Until I started seeing PowerCon themselves tweeting about the Fwoosh being at PowerCon. And then Veebs replying to those tweets going, hell yeah, we'll be there. So I guess we'll be there. Then I'm in Hot Springs, Arkansas for a nice little show in September. And is New York in October? I don't know. I'm not planning that far ahead. We'll see what happens. So if you see me at any of these shows, stop me. Say hi. Because that's the biggest reason for going to shows. Interaction with other collectors. Well, there's looking at toys, and there's getting out of the house. But hanging out's also the biggie. If you enjoyed this Fwoosh Weekly, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus. If you're interested in seeing videos early or in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. Oh yeah, another thing, I upgraded my setup a bit to where it's easier to play video games on my live streams. So I may be doing that more. And that happens over on my personal channel, youtube.com/robokilla. Really, it's just an excuse to talk toys more, but it's also at different times. Usually I'm playing like 10 p.m. to midnight or something, and it'll be a different crew of people making their way through. You know, the guys I usually game with, Prodigy and Just Thunder, and whoever else shows up.